You already know what time it is. It's your boy DJ RichieSkye back with some tea, interviews, recaps, and more. And be sure to check the links in the description of this video for trips, for books, one-on-one sessions, and more. Now let's get into the tea. Y'all, Evelyn is dragging Jennifer to the depths. She is dragging Jennifer by her wigs, baby, by the wigs. Sky Squad, we are back in the building. Whatever happened to Jen's wig line? Is that still a thing? Does anybody know? Chime down in the chat. Is Jennifer's wig line still a thing? Because I'm curious now. I mean, I know she was dabbling in the wigs. I know she was dabbling in production. Maybe she's still doing that. I think that's a smart route for her to continue down that path. It seems like a lot of that maybe has taken a back seat due to the stuff with Christian. But I'm interested. I'm always interested in people and their hustles, right? I want to know how you make your money because I want to know if it's easy for me to do too. Okay, not that I'm gonna start a wig line, but quiet as it's kept, I needed a wig for this beard as it's finally growing back in. As I told y'all yesterday, I did dye it, so it's looking extra juicy and crispy and black today. Back to another Basketball Wives recap video, but we got to take care of some news first. Quick housekeeping, guys. I have got to take a trip soon. I get this free trip with my lifestyle membership. I have tried to tell so many of y'all about this, but a lot of people just feel like certain things are too good to be true. So when I first joined my membership, I ended up you get a free trip as soon as you join. It's about $3, maybe $75 to join. So technically, I mean, I got my ROI as soon as I joined the membership. And I don't pay anything per month because I referred 3 people, right? So that was really all I had to do. Again, I have tried to tell so many people who have tapped into Rich Life by texting 202-918-3386. So now I got to pick a trip, y'all. I got to figure out one of these places to go, in addition to several of the other trips that I have planned already, right? Of course, we're going to Cape Town at the end of the year. You guys are still that's still open for you guys. But I need your help. I need for you to tell me where you guys feel like you want me to go and explore. Or where would you go if you had a membership like this, where you paid about $375 and then you automatically get a trip to one of these locations? And these are like going to be 4 or 5-star destinations with 4 or 5 nights, sometimes up to 7 nights in any of these places. I've already been to Indonesia. I'm thinking about Italy, and I'm also thinking about France or the French Polynesian, but y'all let me know. Anyway, this is available for you too. If you guys are interested, just let me know by texting Rich Life if you are serious. Now, with that being said, housekeeping is out of the way. Let's get into Mama Mia of it all. Mama Mia has got some things to say to the girls. She wants the girls to leave her alone and leave her name out the group chat. Mia says this: let this be a gentle reminder. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. Making false, damaging statements about someone is called defamation, and it's not protected by law. So before you speak on my name publicly, make sure it's the truth, or make sure you're ready to prove it in court. I am no longer allowing anyone to play on my reputation. From Atlanta. P.S. Take me out of the group chat. I don't want to play in your sandbox. NT more. Now that led me to wondering, well, dang, what was said? What was said, Mama Mia, that was so bad? I mean, I watched a bit of Ashley on Watch What Happens Live when she was on with Kelly Farrell from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And Ashley is out there promoting the Love Hotel. Are y'all watching the Love Hotel? I mean, I'm not necessarily watching it, although a lot of you guys are saying that it's good, right? And sometimes we just need that bit of fresh TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, And what I mean by fresh TV is I just mean we need something like a palate cleanser sometimes, because some of these shows sometimes be real dramatical. You know what I mean? They be like, and they get a little dark sometimes, and so sometimes we just need that palate cleanser. You know. And so that's what that may be. But all she said about Mia on there that I can think of was when asked about her being friends with Kelly, Ashley did warn her and call Mia a shady bitch. Okay. The shady bitch, which if somebody called me a shady bitch, I mean, definitely people have said worse in the comments. So to me, I mean, that wouldn't be enough, but maybe it's something that we don't know. Okay. Now, speaking of Potomac, there is some tea from the Jasmine brand, and I want to thank the Bravo Shade Room for that earlier story with Mia, because I saw it on Mia's page when I think I like later on in the afternoon yesterday, and I knew I was going to talk about it today. But it seems as though she is taking that post down. A post and delete. Oh, why do we do it? So anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys about the new ladies who are allegedly joining the Real Housewives of Potomac. So it says realtor Tia Glover and journalist Angel Massey are rumored to join the Real Housewives of Potomac for season 10. Season 10 of a show is oftentimes a pivotal season because this is your decade in. This is where a lot of times shows hit the hump, okay? They hit the hump. They're either going to rise further or they're going to come crashing down, because we've seen so much of some of the same things from some of the long-standing housewives that I just don't know. But what I can say about Giselle and Ashley, and I mean, we have to almost include Wendy in this mix, but mostly Giselle and Ashley because they're the two OGs left standing, is that they seem very much willing to play the housewives games, and I don't feel as though their egos have gotten in the way of them making good TV, as sometimes happens with some of these shows. So who knows what we are going to see. But the Jasmine brand reports that Potomac is shaking things up with these two fresh faces. They say Tia is a successful realtor, proud mother, and reportedly connected to Nigerian royalty. I hope that Tia does not take the same road that I don't want to say the same road, but I just don't want to see what happened to Ineka happen to Tia. Angel is a journalist, is also a mom of two, and married to retired NFL player Bobby Massey. She brings her own blend of glamour and grace to the cast, but it's not all champagne and toast and garden parties. Sources tell Mary Cosby fan page that Tia has already clashed with Stacey, who's allegedly the target of a cast-wide pile-on this season. With drama brewing and alliances shifting, fans can expect a wild ride in Potomac. Interesting. 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 Okay. Very, very interesting. Let me know if you guys are excited about Potomac as I am. I think that Potomac always, listen, to me, I love it when you bring some fresh faces into the mix, because that's how shows are supposed to be. That's how you never get tired of the same old, same old. But here, shout out to Reality Entertainment TV, is the alleged cast at the Pamilico race course for Black Eyed Susan Day. Now, I don't really know what that is, and I'm so sorry for that. I have no excuse, to be honest with you. But I wonder if it was something to do with Preakness, which I think was this past weekend, but somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, and I know you will in the chat. Okay? Trust and believe. I am already ready for you. All right. But here is the alleged cast. Somewhere in the mix of all this, all right, are the ladies. Now, it appears as though one of the newbies in question is at the center of this photo, besides Stacey. Is that Jazzy also as well? I see Wendy, Dr. Wendy. We see Stacey. We see Giselle. We see Kiarna. And then we see a whole bunch of other ladies and Ashley. Now, this is probably the best way to bring in new ladies, kind of like what they did with the Say My Name video back in the day. Y'all remember the Say My Name video where they had like the different little rooms and they had all the people dancing. So you almost, if you blinked, you kind of really didn't understand that Latoya and Latavia was gone, and now we are left with Farrah and Michelle. And who are these people? Okay. And who were the new people? Because it was so much going on with the posing and the different rooms. And it was like, until they did that little centerpiece where they did like that, we didn't really realize, oh, y'all got two new girls. Y'all done pulled a whammy on us. This is probably the best way to do it. Bring in so many new people and throw them into a picture. We don't know who is who. Okay. And that's how you start testing these new people. You bring in a whole bunch of new people, you test them out, you see what works, and then you chop, chop, chop. Okay. That's the play, right? That's the play with Potomac. So there we have some tea on Potomac. Now, let us get into there is so much with Evelyn dragging the living daylights out of Jennifer. But how did it start? And again, it's so many things that we could point out to and we can go to for example, because I just kind of feel like the two of them, I mean, it's just a lot. It's just a lot, man. It is a lot with Evelyn exposing Christian. So let's get into it. Now, I probably should have broke this down into 2 videos, but I know some of y'all love a long podcast. Now, I love a long podcast too. So if you like me, you are in the right place at the right time. Okay. And I'm going to give it to you, and we're going to give it to you non-stopicals. All right. So the Jasmine brand, let's like it. Let's like it. Let's like it. The Jasmine brand posted, Basketball Wives star Evelyn Lozada exposes court docs alleging Jennifer Williams' husband owes back child support and skipped prior hearings, and posts papers alleging he stole tens of thousands of dollars from alleged victims in a fraud lawsuit. Now, where did this start? All right. So one of the things that Jennifer posted was a photo on her Instagram story of Evelyn's ex that she met on that show, Queen's Court. So she says to Levon, congrats on your engagement. So crazy how God works that we happen to be in the same restaurant when you were proposing. Wish you and your beautiful fiance a lifetime of bliss. Hashtag dodged a bullet. All right. Now, this comes after, Jen basically states that Evelyn has never really had a successful long-term marriage. She was only married for a month. We do know what happened in that marriage, and I don't think we need to go back down that path. So Evelyn says, since you want to bring up my ex, let's talk about your man's ex. She's still waiting on her child support for her 3- and 4-year-old. Your man has court in Cobb County on June 4th. He's already skipped 2 hearings. You got quote standards for the clothes you wear, but not for the eggplant that you put in your mouthfuses. Then she says, Tim thick thighs. Hashtag a word I'm not going to say on here. And then hashtag scammers. Now, these are some of the documentations that she has brought up that are basically alleging that he owes back child support and skipped prior court hearings. The papers alleging he stole the tens of tens of thousands of dollars. Let's put the alleged badge up there and let's make that correction that the allegation is tens of thousands, not tens of millions, from alleged victims in a fraud lawsuit. And they say still Jennifer seems unbothered as she posted regular scheduled program on her IG stories alongside the mess. All right. Documentations as Jen posts regularly scheduled program. So Evelyn also posted, now since you wanted to bring up dodging bullets, let's show some loves to the victims who didn't dodge a bullet when it came to your man. Let's play a game. It's giving real Saw movies around here. Let's play a game. All right, so look, let's go into what she said. I got to go to the neighborhood talk for this one. She is going in, okay, posting all of these things. She continues to take stabs at Jennifer and her husband Christian. Since you want to chomp on that rock, okay? Since you want to chop, your man's kids want to eat too. Then she posts that they are Ike and Tina. She posted this that says, anything helps, thanks, God bless them, on the street corner. And she says a lot here that I'm not going to read. I'm not going to show on the screen because I just kind of feel like it would be very difficult to show those on the screen. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to read those to you because it gets real jazzy up in that post with a word that I can't place on the screen. She says 3 associations and 3 men who worked, basically responding to Jen's claims that, she never really married. But she says Evelyn never really married like that. 3 associations and 3 men who worked and paid taxes, unlike yours. You've got standards for the clothes you wear, but not the that you slip and slide on. Jen, then she says, Jen, since you want to chomp, your man's stepkids would like to eat too. Have you checked on them, given them a bath, cooked for them, read them a bedtime story? Didn't think so. You're a bum in real life, not just on screen. Then she says, Jen, let me help you find the ex's child support case since you brought up my ex. And then she goes into Cobb Superior Court, courtclerk.com, and she says, click on Silver Search. Let me know if you need help. Hashtag deadbeat, hashtag deadbeat stepmom. Then on here, she says, you sneak this in while sprinting towards the bullets like it's a track meet. Be serious. Hashtag activated. Now leave me the F alone. I was minding my business today until you started with me and woke me up. So either fall back or we can keep on going. Ooh, y'all, this is a lot. It's a lot for me. It's a lot for me. It's such a lot, y'all. It is, oh my God. When a show starts and there's a beef thing going, um, it always it's always interesting to see, especially when 2 former friends fall out. It's almost like giving, I'm tired of y'all falling out, but this is at least new territory, especially since in the episode we got some tea. Well, it's not really tea to a lot of y'all because a lot of y'all had already been picked up on it, but I be under a rock with some of these things sometimes that Jen is not really married to that man at this point in time. It was just for show. And why? Like, why would you do that? I don't really understand it. So let's get into the recap. I know that's what a lot of you guys are waiting for. So let's play a game. Okay. Let's play a game, as Evelyn says. All right, so this is season 12, episode 3. It's called Bad Timing. Cute, y'all. Cute, y'all. It says the ending of Jennifer and Evelyn's friendship calls into question Jennifer and Brandy's relationship. Ming and Ty try to move on, and Chantel navigates her relationship with the Jackie. Okay, the Jackie, the Christie. So let's go over the scenes from last night's episode. We start off back at the Ponderosa that Chantel threw with all the ladies doing the American Gladiators style challenges and stuff like that. They're eating, and Jennifer and Evelyn are going at it because Jackie made Jennifer reveal that what she said about Shanice's baby father being a felon. That was the allegation, right? And so Evelyn is upset and she's going in because yet again Jennifer has mentioned her daughter, and so she's mad about it, right? And so, to be honest with you, it's I don't know if this is really about Evelyn's daughter as much as it is showing a commonality or a perceived commonality amongst the men in their lives, having committed alleged crimes, or if I don't even know if they're alleged at this point, whatever they are, and being in a space now where they are moving forward in their lives. So that, I think, is what is being called into question, and less about Shanice, but maybe more about her choices, But I guess what Jennifer is trying to say is, I mean, I'm not that much unlike your daughter. For which I think that Evelyn is looking at her with a side eye like, girl, I'm looking at you crazy. But Jennifer's saying maybe you should be looking at your daughter crazy. Maybe that's what Jennifer's trying to say. Be more worried about your daughter and less worried about me. So at that point, it comes out as, Jennifer is holding her own, which is quite surprising to me throughout this episode. And she is delivering some bomb worthy shade at both Evelyn and Brandy, because Brandy doesn't feel like people should be bringing up anybody's kids, in their discussions, and she is very vocal with her opinion. Which is why I like Brandy on this show. Brandy, to me, is such an interesting person on the show because she often finds herself in the center of a lot of chaos. And I never really know how she got there. I don't think she knows how she gets there, but she gets there. But I think it's mostly because she speaks her opinion, and whether it's welcome or not, that's what you need on these types of shows. You need somebody that's going to do some stuff that's going to get a little messy, as we will see from her next week. But I quite enjoy her line of messy work. I do. Because it's less obvious, I think. And I like that. And so I like when somebody sticks their foot in it and they just happen to keep stepping in mud, and they just get into it with everybody as a result of the mud that they step in. It is revealed at this moment that Jen is not married to this man. They are just boyfriend and girlfriend, cosplaying as a married couple. I don't understand that whole situation. And again, Brandy surmises later on that maybe Jen is smarter than everybody is giving her credit for not getting married to this man until the mess is cleared up. But it's still giving WTF to me, because why go through all of this and then have the man get locked up again just because y'all are having some celebratory nuptial that's not a nuptial, that's not even being filmed? I don't get it. Neither does Brandy, neither does Evelyn, neither does anybody else. And I don't know that Jennifer's response to it really made that much sense to me, but it doesn't have to make sense to me. It just has to make sense to her and him. And if he's cool with the fact that this really wasn't a real wedding ceremony, um, and that is what led to him getting, locked up again. If he's cool with it, if it was worth it to him and her, then okay, by all means, have at it. Okay. Um, there's some back and forth with it. Chantel, who clearly doesn't know her mother, is questioning why Jackie would, bring this up at her event. Well, and it's almost like, well, Chantel, the mechanics of reality TV suggest that somebody has to have some level of drama during these group scenes. Otherwise, the group scene will likely never be shown. So if you want your scene to be shown, you're going to have to let mama cook. Okay. Now, the unfortunate thing is that, Jackie, in doing the work, it's fairly obvious that she's stirring the pot. But I don't think we necessarily mind it when it's Jackie Christie, because we kind of almost expect her to do it. And if she doesn't, then we're going to be looking at Jackie a little bit crazy. Like, why aren't you doing anything? Why aren't you doing your job, Jackie? So I appreciate Jackie for putting it all on the table, because at the end of the day, Evelyn was going to find out about it at some point, and what better way than in front of the group, right? All right, so Jennifer really don't appreciate Brandy yet again sticking her nose in her business or whatever like that. So we're gonna have to see how that goes. Um, what's the next scene that we see? We see Brandy, Jennifer, and Jackie all getting together to get their pedicures done in some type of outside style spa or whatever like that. Um, at the end of the day, Jennifer does not feel like she has anything negative going on in her life. She is completely oblivious to everything that Christian has going on. She doesn't care. It's not her problem. She's not going to deal with it. She's in a happy love bubble. And to that, I say, cheers to you, Jen. I aspire to your level of unbothered, right? I really do. Like, here's the thing. Should she be concerned about these things? Yes, she should. Uh, That's the bottom line. I'm really speaking more about just how people manage situations in life. Y'all ever stop and think about how much we worry about things that never end up happening? So much of our lives are spent creating catastrophes. They are. I am working on being a bit more present in my life and just enjoying it for what it is. So if whatever is happening behind me is happening, as long as I'm not in immediate danger, then I need to start living my life in a state of bliss and ease because ultimately that's the best way to live. Some things I cannot do anything about. And so I just got to let them work. And I guess maybe she's just going to let the system do its thing. I really don't know. But Evelyn did make a point to say, and I'm not calling this man a scammer. I'm simply saying that everybody else is. So when you look at Jen's history of the guys that she has dated, and she's kind of blindly going into some of these situations where these guys have done things to her, it would behoove her to be a bit more discerning when she gets involved in these types of situations. I'm not saying if the guy did something and he's gone and done his time that he doesn't deserve to have a space in her life, but at the end of the day, there are some flags up that do need to be sorted, and we don't see them having those conversations. But maybe he's talked her into believing what he has to say. And I'm not saying that what he's saying is untrue to her. I don't know what it is, but he's whatever he's saying or doing for her is enough for her to be okay with whatever he got going on and whatever mess or drama is associated with him. And we just got to leave it at that. Evelyn tells her daughter Shanice what has happened. Shanice feels like, Jen's apology to her was fake. She feels like Jennifer is an insecure person. And that's just that on that. Evelyn wonders why the women always bring up Shanice. And I think it is true that there is a space where the way to get to Evelyn is through her daughter. I mean, whether she likes it or not, her daughter's choices because of who she is, they're going to be speculated about. Jackie talked about her daughter. Jen talked about her daughter. Now, I mean, she's brought up her daughter a couple of times allegedly. So I mean, I don't know what to say to you, Evelyn, but that's just the way I think that that's just gonna happen. I mean, it's unfortunate, but I think it just is because they know that that's the target for you. That's how they're gonna get you riled up, and that's how they're either gonna get you to leave them alone or get you sparked up even more. Um, Ty, and Ming, I'm gonna be very real with you guys. I really have a hard time sometimes believing their relationship to be true. Can I see why Ming would be attracted to Ty? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, hello. I mean, look at Ty. I'm attracted to Ty. I don't know why. She just got a swagger about her that's just like, oh, hey, how you doing? Um, but I don't for one second believe, for whatever reason, that they are in this, torrid love affair slash friendship. I just feel like I just kind of feel like it's a thing for the show. I love the dynamic that they brought to the show with this relationship, but I just find it to be a little bit questionable, and I can't really put my finger on why. And to me, and this is not a knock towards Ming, but I feel like Ming has an aesthetic that is less basketball wives and is really more loving hip hop or perhaps Real Housewives of Atlanta adjacent. Something about her, it just feels like every time I see her in the scene, I feel like she's got so much going on with her. Like there's so much happening with her general aesthetic that I feel like is probably more appropriate for I don't know, she seems very Atlanta to me. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in the best way possible. And I feel like she really would soar on one of those other shows because I don't feel like she kind of fits what I feel like is the general aesthetic for this show. But I could be wrong. Maybe I have some like weird bias and I don't really know about it, but I'll work on that in my downtime. But I just don't buy. I don't buy their relationship, to be honest with you. Chantel questions Jackie about being messy, and I don't know, Chantel, have you seen this show before? Maybe you should just kind of go back and watch some seasons, because I kind of feel like this is par for the course for Jackie. So, and that's the reason why we like her. All right. With regards to Ming and Ty, they are supposed to be just friends. Ming don't want nothing to do with her in terms of a relationship. And so, girl, you got to stop spending the night and sleeping naked in her home if you want us to believe that you really don't want to be with her. So they end their situation, and she walks out, and they're just going to be friends. So Ty has told her that Brandy thought she was cute. That's what Evelyn had told her. Ming runs back and tells Jen about their situation, and she don't really know if Ty told her that to make her jealous or not, but she claims that she's happy for Ty to move on. Meanwhile, Ty texts Brandy and is like, hey, I got a styling shoot. Can you come? So they talk and they getting to know each other better. Brandy is kind of like, yeah, I mean, yeah, she is cute or whatever like that. She's attractive, but I don't bit more believe that Brandy wants her. I don't bit more believe that Ty wants Brandy. But I do think that this is a great way for them to, begin to develop a friendship and begin the integration of Ty into the cast in a bit more of a solid way. So they go off, and then they go to the I don't know if it's a gynecologist, if it's a fertility space, but Ty has to go and lay back and let the people look up in there and do some type of ultrasound to find out if she got some eggs that'll work. And so she got to figure out if she's gonna freeze them or not. So Ty, I'm like, girl, like, you got the eggs, you think you want a child, freeze the eggs, decide later. Boom, period. I mean, it seems simple to me. If you got the coins, do it. Like, what you worried about? I mean, you got your head in your hands, head hanging low. If you don't want to do this, don't do it. But if you want to do it, if you think you want to do it, go ahead and freeze the eggs. Boom, there we go. I don't know that this is an easy process for women to go through. I can't say that. What I can say is I'm listening to the doctor, I'm listening to Brandy, and it sounds to me like if you're thinking about it, just freeze them. You don't want to do it right now, at least now you can think about it. Jen wants to sit down with Brandy because she really wants to know why Brandy is all up Evelyn's buttocks right now. And I do feel like Brandy is just sticking up for what she believes in. But I also think that, again, in the one-on-one sit down, I try to say this every season about every show. Producers, do not skimp out on the one-on-one sit downs. The one-on-one sit downs, as we saw with Portia and with Shamia, are reality TV gold, and they often yield very interesting indicators about the relationship that the two ladies have in general, and who is going to acquiesce to whose demands. And if because it also says something about maybe their level of friendship, right? I feel like Brandy and Jennifer are going to be they have a rocky road ahead of them, despite the fact that this situation kind of ended well. But let's get into how it began. They sit down, and Jen wants to know, like, well, girl, Ming thinks that you were shading her because you told her about, doing your own makeup in the car. And, now Ming is upset because you mentioned that Ty was cute. And Brandy's like, I don't even know this girl. She don't even really go here. What is she upset about? I mean, are her and Ty really even together? Like, I think Brandy's just kind of like, girl, whatever. Who are you? And so that's what it was given. And I kind of agree with Brandy. It's like, I don't know you that well yet, so I'm just hanging out with somebody who is now on the cast who does happen to be attractive, and that's that on that. Next, Jen is like, and girl, you open up your mouth and you just say whatever, just like you inserted yourself in the situation with me and Evelyn yet again, and you told me you was gonna stay out of it. Now I want you to keep your nose out of it. And then when Brandy was like, well, girl, when you bringing up the kids again, that's problematic for me. And Jen is like, well, take it up with God. Take it up with God. And I'm like, and then she shades Brandy, and she's like, Brandy is nobody to be talking to me about being married, because she herself has been in the headlines for her man's indiscretions, yada, 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 whoop de whoop de whoop. Okay, so don't be trying to tell me about no marriage. But baby, Aunt Jennifer, you ain't had the best relationships with these men over the years. So I don't think we should be, I don't think you or anybody to be calling anybody into question. If there was somebody that you needed to be asking about marital advice, probably the best person to be would be Jackie Marie Christie. Okay. Because despite how crazy Jackie has been on this show and we love it, we love her for it, or I do. Some of y'all don't, but I love her for it. But at the end of the day, Jackie Marie Christie has been married to Doug Christie forever. Okay. Now, whether or not they didn't have things happen in their marriage, that's the case with marriages, right? Okay. But the hope and the prayer is that it don't result in something insane happening, right? Some type of, okay, people calling you a scammer, for which Evelyn now calls Jennifer and Christian scammers because they done made it seem like they was married and they really, really wasn't. I don't understand for the life of me why anybody would do that. It doesn't make sense to me. I guess I would have to call Yandy and Mendices to ask for some intel. I don't know if Jennifer hangs out with Mandy and Mendices down when she's into the Atlanta, but because I think she lives in Atlanta full time, but I don't know, who knows where they live. But what I'm saying to you is this: I do feel like, there is something to be said for why are you letting people think that you're married when you're really not? Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me. And again, it would be more reasonable to me if y'all did it on camera. But y'all didn't even do it on camera. You didn't dupe the people, maybe the people who didn't, who knew, who went there knew. But it's confusing to all the rest of us. Like, why do this ceremony? Because marriage is expensive. Like, when weddings, not marriage, but weddings are expensive. So when you have these types of things, you invite people to Paris, you know what I'm saying? And you want to, like, you making such a big production out of this. Girl, go ahead and do the real marriage. What the WTF? Like, let's come on, get this thing popping. Like, ain't nobody got time for these shenanigans and tricks and shows. What are you doing that for? For you to be that fabulous. And you are, in my opinion. I think Jennifer's a fabulous girl. At least, her designer clothes make it seem like she's fabulous. And I understand how she tries to carry herself. And I do respect that, right? But at the end of the day, what I don't understand is why you would pretend to be married or pretend to get married only to not get married, and then have it come out on the show that you're not married, and then be exposed in this way that you're not married, and then have a marriage, and then only to run to Vegas to get married. Like, that to me is, I don't understand it. Whatever the case may be, here we are. And Brandy, to me, just wanted a seat at the wedding, because I feel like Brandy feels like this: it would be better. I think that Brandy loves Jennifer. I do. I think that Brandy at this point is just acquiescing to Jen's request because she thinks that it would be a better thing to be in Jennifer's space, to be there for Jen, versus to not be in her space and to be on her bad side. And I think that that's probably the smarter friend play, right? Is to say, okay, you know what, friend, if this is the way you're rocking, then I'm rolling. And this way, you can at least still have your friend, and you can still be there for your friend, even when they are going down a downward spiral, because you want to be the soft space for them to land. That's why I respect Brandy's stance in how she responded to Jen. She said, I hear you. I receive it. It is what it is. If this is your wishes, then I'm going to roll with it. But next week, behind your back, I'm going to invite your sworn enemy to Vegas, because I feel like I want to create some TV. And I'm here for it, Brandy. Good job. Good job. Good job. All right. So listen, if you guys love reality TV related news, recaps, this is the right space for you. We like to do it in a way that's fun, that's friendly, that is like, just a little bit shady. We ask questions, but we do judge a little bit. It is what it is. With that being said, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. Of course, like I said before, we have trips to Cape Town coming up. You guys can get my travel guide. It's in the description, in the stand store link in the description of this video. And of course, we've got the book, The Wickedest Wives, book 3, working on it slowly but surely. Life kind of lifed and threw me off track for a little bit, but I'm trying to get back on top of it. The Cape Town trip will likely be one of my last trips that I ever do. So I really want you guys to tap into it. If you've been thinking about a trip, if you haven't signed up for a trip, but you wanted to do one, this is going to be for you. All right. So with that being said, I will catch you all in the next video.